What's up, everybody? Tyson Roush. Let's talk Jets radio on a Victory Monday, which has been awesome. You know, the whole Mike White thing and coming back, overcoming an 11-point deficit. There's so many great things that happened yesterday. So, over the past 3 or 4 weeks, we've been really down on this team for a litany of reasons, especially when you lose by 41 points. You question every facet of the team. The media's pounding the Jets. The fans are pounding them. And Saleh kept his locker room together. They all bought in. They all kept fighting. And they rallied around a quarterback making his first NFL start. So you got to give credit where it's due. I mean, and you got to give credit all across the Jets here. So I'll start with Saleh. Keeping this locker room united, didn't really cave in, kind of stuck to his guns. And you had rumors that he's practicing the team too hard and doing all these things, and you don't know what to believe. Like in this market, the New York market is tough. The fans are tough, and when it's like having a big crater on top of a mountain, and the crater starts rolling downwards, it starts destroying everything in its way. And that's how the negativity kind of builds up in this market and amongst this fan base, just based on all the things that's happened in the past. So yesterday they come out and there was a legitimate rhyme or reason to their game plans. LaFleur going up to the booth. According to reports, Zach Wilson wanted LaFleur on the field to help him. That wasn't the case on Sunday, where he's up in the booth. How much that helped his play calling and how much more he saw, I don't know. But the play calling was definitely more creative. He opened it up. You had the Philly special, you had end arounds, you had all kinds of different things going on, which was fun to watch. And to be honest, like if the Jets would have lost yesterday in the last couple seconds, we got a glimmer of hope. We saw progress. We had something you could build into and buy into, and the game was fun to watch. And that's all we've been asking for. We're not saying go 12-5. We're saying compete week in and week out and just show us that you know what the hell you're doing. So LaFleur did a lot of great things yesterday. They stayed aggressive. And it was, for the last couple of weeks, I almost felt like I could call the plays. Yesterday, I had no idea what they were doing, which is great. So you have credit to Saleh, credit to LaFleur. The offensive line, we've been kind of nitpicking on them a lot, just kind of, really drag them through the mud. Greg Van Roten played very well. There was one play where he looked awful on. I mean, we were at the stadium, so you can only see certain things, and they don't show a lot of replays, unfortunately. But the one play I know he got blown up pretty bad, where he was kind of just standing there, but he played very well. And then I got to give credit to Chuma Edoga. Once Fant got hurt, I told Primetime, like, oh shit, here we go. He stepped up. They let the team. They gave Mike White time. You're able to run the ball a little bit. So offensive line definitely stepped their game up against a very good Bengals defense, and then the wide receivers as well. You had Denzel Mims. He had that one unfortunate drop in the end zone, but Elijah Moore, they featured him. 10 different guys caught passes. That's incredible. And to me, Michael Carter is like a star in the making. I really, really love the way he plays the game. He's explosive. He's fast. He competes. He knew he made the mistake at the end of the game, not getting the first down. He held himself accountable. And again, competing. Elijah Moore tackling the defender down the 1 yard line. These guys competed for the whole game. They wanted it. They showed that, listen, we're tired of getting pushed around. We're tired of being bad mouth, and they all did something. Tyler Kroft with a touchdown. Crowder doing his things, even though Crowder had the fumble and the pass that went off his hands. It's just everybody contributed, and it made it a lot more fun. And they were all rallying around the quarterback. You could see there was like chemistry, there was symmetry, they were running around. And even when Josh Johnson came in, like they didn't miss a beat. They just kept they were all believing in one another, and it seemed like a cohesive unit. Defensively, Bryce Hall is just improving week in and week out. We were wondering how he was going to play when they started facing better wide receiver groups. You had Jamar Chase, you had T. Higgins, you had Tyler Boyd. It wasn't perfect and it wasn't pretty at times, but they held their own. That's all you could ask. For a young secondary, just keep finding a way. Like Tyrone likes to say, bend but don't break. At times they did that. At times they had goal line stand. They got 3 and outs when it counted. And then you had guys that we kind of wrote off a little bit. Like Zuniga gets a big play. Quinnen Williams, you kind of wonder, listen, man, in a big spot, will these guys get the big sack or the big tackle for a loss? Quinnen did it. Rankins did it. It was so much fun to watch. Marcus made a big play. C.J. Mosley contributed. And it was like the vocal, powerful leaders. And I'll give Jared Davis credit too, man. He seemed like he was flying around. He was all fired up. Like the sideline was into it. The players were into it. And the crowd got into it too. And that's the whole thing. Honestly, this is the first time in a while to actually attend a home game and be ultra excited about it. Now, the Titans game was fun, but this was fun for 4 quarters. And you even down 31-20, you're like, all right, how are they going to, let's see what this kid can do. Mike White was just hey, this kid's got something. He was throwing the ball around. His stats were excellent. You consider a couple drops, it could have been even better than they were. So it was just tremendous. They even overcame a missed field goal. So you got to give them all credit, man. We've been down on them. I've been pounding on them. I questioned so many things. And this was, this kind of silences all of us for a week, or 3 days, because they're going to play the Colts. Now, everybody wants to talk about Mike White. What do? You keep letting him play and you see what happens. And Zach Wilson could sit on the side and just watch and learn, man. It's okay. Like, we are not worried about, you have to give Mike White a new contract, none of this stuff. Like, it's been one game and it's exciting. And these hot takes now, it's like, oh, well, now I told you Joe Douglas's draft class was great and all these things. This win is great, and you're only as good as your last performance. But you got to string together 2 or 3 good performances. The Jets beat the Titans and then laid an egg against the Falcons. You got to put together week in and week out the same consistent performances, and that's what makes you a good team. So before everybody goes patting themselves on the back and telling me, I told you so, they're going to win this game, which pretty much nobody told me that, and nobody told me Mike White was going to be a star on Sunday. But listen, just enjoy it. We don't need to take shots at each other. But the whole thing is you got to build off this now. And enjoy today, enjoy yesterday, and then Thursday night get back at it and compete. Again, don't let your highs be too high and your lows be too low. You got to keep, stay even keel, which Salah seems to do. And that seems to be his demeanor. And, I took shots on him yesterday. I watched a couple times where a couple bad calls, a couple bad hits, and he really was he just kind of stayed even keeled the whole time. And maybe that's who he is. We all expected something that's not it, but maybe this is the way he is as a head coach. And that's just fine if it works. Like, I don't care. Listen, when he wants to be rowdy, be rowdy. It's not, obviously, emotion doesn't do a lot on the sideline, but sometimes your players feed off it, especially if it means like fighting for a bad call or fighting for something. Like, the team knows, listen, this guy's got my back. And sometimes I like to see more out of this team in general. When Mike White gets hit or late hits, like, you don't want to get personal fouls, but you want to show, listen, man, you're not going to push us around. We may be 2-5, but we're not going to be pushovers. So I give them all credit, man. Listen, I was completely wrong about this team going into the game yesterday. And it's great to have this just positivity, feeling around it. And let's go, build on it, man. Build on it. Just don't lay an egg on Thursday. Just keep, let Mike White keep playing. You don't have to worry about Zach Wilson. He can be out another couple games anyway. You don't have to rush him back. And you see what happens. So thanks for watching and have a good day.